This conference will now be recorded.
I actually didn't hear that the first time.
Yeah, I started it, and I don't know if I had it muted or what the deal was, but I started it all over again. I apologize.
All right, do you want to re-go over your explanation for the water lines in your report then? I'm only kidding, Mark. Okay. All right, well, is there no other comments or questions on the ordinance? And I'll ask for a motion or a roll call then, please.
Councilman Torncello,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor.
Mayor, the next order of business is resolution number 9741. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves a New York State Department of Transportation Equitable Business Opportunity System user agreement between the New York State Department of Transportation and the City of Watervliet, and further authorizes and directs General Manager Joseph Lasavita to execute same.
Mayor, I make a motion that we move on the resolution.
And I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Joe, do you want to explain that?
Sure. The request before you tonight, it's really to have a form on the Department of Transportation's website that we have to get a username and a password. This was under the former general manager of the city, Jeremy Smith, and we can't access this system in order to put the bike path documents onto the DOT project or to the DOT system. So the EOB, which is the Equitable Business Opportunities System that they call it, all the bike path documentation and all the forms we need to file and reports we need to file need to be accessed that way. And that's what we need to do here tonight, is allow us to pass the resolutions, which has to follow the form that I have with me, so we can start the project.
Thanks, Joe. Any other questions? If not, I'll ask the call roll.
Councilman Torncello,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor.
The next order is resolution number 9742. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby awards the contract for a financial and administrative data processing system to Edmunds GovTech with an address of 301 Tilton Road, Northfield, New Jersey. A responsive and responsible offer on the basis of best value in the amount of $189,488. And Mayor Charles V. Patricelli is hereby authorized and empowered to execute a contract between the City of Watervliet and Edmunds GovTech.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on the resolution.
And I'll second it.
Okay. I'll leave this up to what, Joe and Amanda? Amanda, you're on too?
Yep.
Wanna-
Go ahead. So this is for our new ERP system. It encompassed a ton of different softwares, from finance to code to clerk's office as well. It's something the city desperately needs, truthfully, and we had three bidders, and Edmunds came out on top, at least of my scoring, and I believe of Joe and Dave's as well.
Correct.
Amanda, just curious, was this, or Joe, was this the lowest bid, or was this the
It
best
was.
value, and the one that Amanda thinks and everyone thinks is going to be the most helpful to the city?
Both are yeses. It was the lowest bidder, and I think given it has so many different softwares to help so many different departments, I think it's really truly the best for the city.
That's a great answer. We're all hoping to hear that.
Yeah, and May, Peter, looking at both presentations, this appeared to be the one that had the most functionality and the ease of use. So it's my anticipation that there's going to be hopefully very little lag time in getting people up to speed and getting operational. You know, I made a joke today when we were talking to Edmonds that in order to pull out a report in our current fiscal structure, the way we have our system, it's like you got to stand on one leg and phone a friend to get the right answer, because we don't know how everything is intertwined. And in all my years in fiscal background, I've never seen a financial system this cumbersome in order to get an answer. And I think this is going to help us project into the future and do a much better job.
Is there a time, like how long before something like this is up and running? Is it months and
I was
months?
gonna ask the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first module we're doing is utility billing, because we were actually told by our current provider a couple of years ago that we needed to get new system because they're no longer servicing it. So that's going to be first. That'll be operational for the November billing. But going hand in hand with that, the financial software, they were looking at September, October.
This talking about the water bills was it first?
Yes.
Right. And Amanda, do you want to make mention about the connection, for everybody else's benefit, or at least to refresh your memory? This is the FRB's recommendation as well.
Yes. Yes, the FRB is going to provide us up to $300,000 to have this new system. We're still working with them regarding some language that is written in that particular grant, if you will. But yes, it is their recommendation to get a new system, and we are complying with that.
Good.
Amanda, just speak a little bit too about how this is going to function based on how we're operating today, and how that'll help you out and everyone else out as well, as to how it on the cloud.
Yes. So it's the system we're working with is going to be, or the admin system is going to be on the cloud. And given this time right now, if it was something that had to be hosted at a location, either in Watervliet or at the county, logging into it would be rather cumbersome. You'd have to have a VPN to get in, and I'm sure we're all working from home, and logging into a VPN is interesting, to say the least. Sometimes you lose connection and whatnot, but this will be an internet based. So even if you lose connection to your internet for a couple of seconds, it's not going to be that big of a deal, as opposed to if you lose your VPN, you then have to sign back in and hope that it's working. And so being on the cloud is going to help all of us substantially, and as well as some of the people that may be out in the field, like code enforcement guys and whatnot. They'll be able to log right into everything.
Well overdue. If there's no other questions, I'll ask to call the roll.
Councilman Torncello,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor.
Mayor, the last order of business tonight, a new business, is resolution number 9743. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby adopts the City of Watervliet's procurement policy.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on the resolution.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Jordan, this is an annual resolution, correct?
Yes, Mayor. We certainly have a procurement policy, and each year we essentially renew the policies. So what the city has at this point, we have a procurement policy which is required under General Municipal Law Section 104B, which requires municipalities to adopt procurement policies and procedures, particularly for your items that don't have to be competitively bid pursuant to the General Municipal Law. So this is it's a new format with respect to our procurement policy. It's structured differently. I think it's, in my opinion, easier to read, but it incorporates our green procurement policy that, if you may recall, the previous council had adopted. So it's putting the policies together into one document. That's one of the benefits of this procurement policy, but it also adds things that wasn't in the previous procurement policy, such as procuring commodities through sole source or cooperative or piggyback contracts, and also shared services. Municipalities are encouraged and authorized to share services and work together when possible to reduce costs. So I would request the council to consider adopting this, and that is essentially what this resolution is to adopt a procurement policy, this procurement policy, and that this procurement policy will be reviewed annually. It doesn't have to be readopted annually, but just to be reviewed annually in the event that certain changes are needed or updates that need to be made. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions on it?
Not me. No questions.
The clerk to call the roll.
Councilman Torncello,
In favor.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor.
Your Honor, that concludes the new business for this evening's agenda.
Okay, thank you. One other thing that we were going to bring up for the agenda tonight was the bulk gas purchase or the electric purchase. Has that been resolved yet? No.
I sent out some pricing this afternoon.
Right. Is there any information on that, Amanda or Mark?
Sent out some pricing this afternoon. I'm not sure where it's going from here. Like for electricity, it made sense. It was favorable, but I'm not sure that it makes sense at this time for gas.
Hey, Mayor, so one of the, if I may, Mayor, one of the discussion topics that I had with Mark was to see if we could obtain a contract with, a proposed contract with upstate utilities to determine what their role is in this matter. And I believe Mark received an email from him today. And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong about that there's no contract, between the city of Watervliet and upstate utilities, because it's my understanding, based upon the content of that email, that this individual is the agent for these companies, and the agreements would be between the city of Watervliet and these companies. So I understand, essentially, the urgency in trying to rectify the issue, but I just think we need to regroup to determine the best way as far as procuring specific price or the specific company, if in fact that has to be done based upon that information that I received today. I guess I would need also, as we talked about before, which are the companies that specifically are, offering their service, what specific amount of money, the duration of it. So there's, I think, a lot more information that I think I personally need in order to move forward and put together something, or at least, make a recommendation to the appropriate individuals in the administration on how to move forward with it. Sounds like, the same topic of conversation that we had before, but we, at the last meeting, and I know it was only a week previous, but it is a little bit of a curveball, the information that sort of I had regarding Upstate Utilities and their specific role in this, or if they have a role, that is.
Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we have a contract with Upstate Utilities? I believe it was even before I came on as a councilman.
I looked there, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because that's the first thing that I did was to search, the database, and I searched in Upstate Utilities. I didn't find anything. So I don't know if there ever was a specific contract that was executed or presented.
Yeah, I do remember we had a contract with them before, and then we moved to another vendor. And then I guess then it stopped. For some reason it stopped, and we never went out for pricing again. And that's the case. I have no problem in figuring out what the let's say the role is or the statute is. I just don't want to lose any good pricing between now and then because of the delays that we're having. But I was under the impression that we had this particular contractor was also a vendor of ours, and even if it was somebody else, it would have been the same type of let's say role.
I think the issue is, Mayor, if I may, that we were under the assumption that we were consistent with the competitive pricing based on the fact that we were going to utilize the agent to get us the best three prices. But what we learned today was that these are three companies, the three prices that we got, that he is the agent for, and it doesn't necessarily follow the competitive pricing bid because these are the best prices that he can get us. It doesn't mean that there aren't better prices that another agent may be able to offer us. So when we start talking about the competitive pricing as it applies to the procurement policy, I think when we had the prior agreement with this agent, it was before we had the procurement policy in place. And now it's kind of based on the information that we got today. We don't necessarily think that one broker offering us three prices is really in line with the procurement policy.
What you're saying is you have to look for three brokers to get their pricing from their, let's say, their vendors.
That might be the case.
Mayor, we'll make this certainly a priority to have an answer for you, by the end of next week, if that's okay, because I know you and the council have already, asked this question, and I indicated to you that we would work on it, which we have, but we'll make this certainly a priority and have an answer for you by Friday of next week, if that's acceptable to everybody, or sooner.
Yeah, I just don't want to see the opportunity lost for getting a good price. That's all. Okay. Anything else? Appropriations and accounting, Amanda?
Actually, I did send something to the council and the general manager earlier this week. I think yesterday, actually. I do know that I said at a prior council meeting that the AUD was due April 1st, and I did misspeak. It's actually due, at this moment, it's due April 30th. There are discussions of it being pushed out further, given the pandemic we're dealing with right now. So I do not have final numbers yet, but I am working on them.
I mean, that might be your mic that you might have to mute. Okay, before we go into public comment period, just want to, Joe, I know we talked about this in the, let's say the meeting beforehand, but we talked about the food pantry that you're starting. Can you give us just a quick rundown for everybody that joined us at 7 o'clock?
For those of us, or for those of you who weren't on earlier, the Regional Food Bank of Northeast New York reached out to our city, and we had conversations earlier, the end of last week, They have a tremendous amount of food sitting in their pantry that they would like to get out into the various communities. They're working with a couple of municipalities that are surrounding us, but they noticed and they're hearing of a need that potentially might be going on in this Watervliet that might be going unfulfilled. Knowing the bank, knowing what they do, right now we have the potential to receive anywhere from 16 to 19 pallets of food, in goods, and so on, that we will then repackage into various, small boxes and create boxes of home to the various families. We'll through the logistics of that now. We may get it delivered to us as early as Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We're looking for volunteers to work in a safe format. We're going to be reaching out to the county. Councilman Torncello's taken the lead on that to find out what guidance they may have on how we can repackage this food, what they can do, and then we'll be looking at ways to reach out to the various community residents and see what food, if they need food, and how we can get that food out to their prospective residences. Each pallet's probably about 2,500 pounds or so, if not more. So it's going to be a lot of food that we're going to repackage. I think it's a great opportunity for the city to unite this way, and then get food out to those that may be of need.
Thank you. When I found out that the Immaculate Heart of Mary's food pantry closed, it seemed to leave that void, and there was a number of people that I saw or reached out to me about looking for, some kind of help. And when this popped up, it was a good thing. So thank you, Joe. The other thing too is I know the senior centers are still sending out food or helping out with any food that seniors may need. And if anybody knows of that, they can contact here at the office or the senior center, and we can make sure that everybody is taken care of. I again have to thank, it seemed to be kind of like a status quo on what's going on here. I know the police and fire have been very, very busy, and we've been busy trying to answer questions. And a lot of these questions that are coming to us, we don't know the answers to. We have to find out too. This is not something that's in the textbook, so we're kind of writing it as we go. So I appreciate everybody else's, let's say, help and let's say support and getting us through this. And I think I want to thank everybody again for doing that. They've been absolutely fantastic. I also want to bring out the fact is that, I do have a shirt and tie underneath here, but I wanted to wear the shirt that we never gives up, that had been on sale by the school. They've been absolutely phenomenal in the amount of money that they raised to help the students and in supporting our businesses. And I want to thank Amanda Kavanaugh for spearheading that, and she had help with Med Franzek and others as well. So I really do appreciate all they've been doing for the city of Watervliet and the students and residents as well. So thank you very much. The final thing that I have is I was brought to me today, and I want to just announce it now that I've signed a proclamation for the Arbor Day for the month of April. This is something that we do annually to support the Tree Advisory Committee and the efforts that our trees do for the community and the supporting the community. And so as of today, I signed the proclamation for officially proclaiming the month of April as Arbor Day in the city of Watervliet. So I just wanted to make that as an announcement. Is there anything else that the council members like to bring forth before we go into the public comment period?
No, I'm good.
Thanks, Barb.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, then Dave, I'll give you the opportunity to open up the public comment period.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, the mayor and the council have authorized a public comment period. You will have 2 minutes to address the council on any matter you wish. We only ask that you state your name and your address before you begin speaking.
So Dave, before we start, if I can make the recommendation, I can see everybody and I can see everybody who has an open mic. what I would ask is if you don't have anything for a public comment period, that you keep your mic muted. If you want to bring something up in public comment period, you unmute your mic. That way I'll be able to see the green microphones and I'll scroll down and I'll call on you one by one, if that's okay with everybody.
Anyone?
I'm scrolling down there.
Okay.
Becky Williams.
Hi, Becky Williams, 1525 Fifth Avenue. I'd like to be added to the list to help out with the new food pantry.
Thank you, Becky. I'll put you down.
Okay, thank you.
Paul Hughes.
Paul Hughes, 108 15th Street. Andrea had asked if she could be on the list also, if we can volunteer. And also, is there a certain person that you make a recommend or a request so that you could be on the list for the food? Who would you contact?
I don't think we know the answer to the about that yet. I think when Councilman Torrencello and it's going to be when Councilman Torrencello follows up with the rules, we're going to have an announcement on that so that we can get it. It'll probably be an open type of thing where you come up to the dome and pick something up. But the logistics on that will have to wait a little bit, Paul. But I'll definitely put you down as one of the people to contact for helping bag and distribute. Thanks.
Yep. And one more thing is, has the date changed, or is there a set date for when they're going to start for the bike trail, or has that agenda moved with the COVID virus?
Well, right now we're going through, and Mark can certainly jump in as well, but right now we're going through getting all the documentation and the contracts advancing forward. From what I learned from our engineers, Barton and LaJudas, it's still an essential project and they can still carry forward. But we have not got a start date as of yet. We're working through some various paperwork with the DOT website in order to get that moving. And then shortly thereafter, we'll have a ratified contract and we go forward.
I keep checking Don Whited just because I'm used to him sitting at the meeting waiting to be the last one. So.
Okay.
That looks like it, Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope this worked out as easy as it. Let's say the second week is a lot easier than the first. So I do appreciate everybody, coming in and jumping on board. Do appreciate that. I want to wish everybody a nice, happy Easter as best as we can. It's going to be, we're still going to get through this, and we'll do it together. I really do appreciate it. Our next meeting will be actually on April 30th. So between now and then, I know you'll be hearing from us. And if you have any questions or any concerns, please don't hesitate to call me or the office here or anybody else. We're here to help you. Anything else before we adjourn?
Nope. Everybody be safe.
No.
Well, you too. Thank you.
Hello.
I'll have to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
I'll second it.
Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilman Torrencello,
In favor?
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor. Thank you, everybody. And
All righty, thank you.
thanks, Mark and Jim, for handling this. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.